Good evening, everybody watching at home. It is SuperSquid once again with the Amigos Racing Team TCR series. I join you, you join me, we join each other, I suppose, in Tier 1 this week at Watkins Glen Short Course. Short course, hope making for a little bit more closer racing. As usual, we got our regular mix of Nissan Silvia, BMW M4, Genesis, Honda Genesis G70, Toyota 86, Lexus RCF, and maybe a couple more that I've forgotten off the top of my head. If you want to get involved in the wide array of races and leagues on offer here at Amigos Racing Team, please check our description below the video for our Discord link, including our highly popular so far, many people signed up for it, our Race Against Cancer, and one of the two of our leading members who unfortunately were diagnosed last year. They seem to be fighting really hard. They're doing very well from what I understand so far, but if you'd like to take part, if you'd just like to donate, again, please join our Discord via the description to get yourself some ways into the race. Let's let Hockers know that we are ready to go. So, sorry about that, just dropped some colouring. So, we've got a 16 lap race here at Watkins Glen. A 3-minute qualifying. A lap is really only maybe about 1 minute 14 if it's a good lap. So let's see how our drivers get on tonight. If you're enjoying the stream, please make sure to drop a like on the stream, share it with your family. I know Matthew Francis normally has a couple people in the chat, so if you're there watching, hi to you guys at home especially. And we're about to get underway, so let's find someone to spectate. Someone ideally who's on the track. We'll jump on with Bonnie Bell then. Bonnie Bell normally with quite a pack of pace. So let's see how he operates today. Right, all links are shared, everyone's in the right place, excellent stuff. We've got Lays in the chat there saying, go Terminator. No idea who Terminator is, hopefully he's fast. Let's have a look. So you can see here some drivers already getting out of each other's way. This is going to be one of the big choke points of the track, I think. The bus stop here at Watkins Glen. In a couple of practice races this weekend, I've seen people going through 2x2. We might even see 3 go through there if we're very lucky. You'll note here all the cars holding this right hander nice and tight, not following down through the boot, I believe it's known. But cutting out that whole section of track entirely, including the final uphill left-hander, and rejoining at the penultimate corner. So a chance here for cars to get their power down. From practice, the Toyota 86 has struggled around here somewhat, not being the fastest of the cars. By contrast, the Genesis G70 has done fairly well. The Lexus has also been very quick. But we're going to see here as Bonnie Val takes us around for his first timed lap. Hit about 140 miles an hour, braking maybe just before the 100 board, clip that apex as tight as you can, and then use as much of that rumble strip as you dare. 2 tyres are enough to save yourself from avoiding a penalty, but if you jump off that curve at all, you'll be getting at least half a second slowdown on that back straight. Now for the fastest part of the track here, you should see drivers hit about 150, maybe even 155 with some slipstream as they head into the bus stop. Bonnie Val there with a bit of slipstream from Ryan is bad, you know. He holds 5th gear, takes 4th on the apex to try and keep the car balanced. He's gone a little wide there. He may snag a half-second penalty for track limits there. Be very lucky if he doesn't, but he has just about kept it in one piece. Looks like he will escape without a penalty there. Now putting his foot down again into the back straight here, probably about 135, 140 before he has to slam the brakes on, maybe down a gear. Roll it through the corner there, back on the power as early as you can. Use a little bit more of that rumble strip there, and key part here as well is our pit entry on this right-hander. You have to hold that corner really tight if you're going into the pits, or just wash out wide if you aren't, and I don't think we'll have to see any pit stops tonight. We're going to see there a 1:14 flat from Bonnie Val, an excellent time there, but not as good as Gina Quinney, who's put in a 1:14.004. So an excellent time there from Quinney. Bonnie Val puts it in P2 though. Ryan's badge, you know, just in front of him on the road in P3. Not for long though, as ART Lankster takes that spot away from him. Cuzzy, we effectively know him, and now he'll jump away before we see any gratuitous violence, I think. So our grid will be Gina Quinney in P1 in that electric G70 we've seen and used before. Bonneville in P2, Langston 3rd, Ryan 4th, Terminator new tonight in 5th. Oh, not Terminator, he's been for ages. It's Ryan that's new tonight. Terminator's 5th, Beardy in 6th, Dutchy down in 7th. Quite a surprise there, maybe not the best quality from him. And 4 thousandths ahead of Beardy McBeard. He'll be chuffed with that. ART Hockers in P8, Chris Boone 9th, Lango 10th, Matt 237 in 11th. MFT Speed Hunter at the back of the pack. Seems to be the penalty. His lap may well have been invalidated, so we should see them hit the race in just a few moments. And good evening, Squid. Thank you, ladies. Of course, always good to see you on track. Always good to see you in the chat. Have a lovely evening yourself, sir, and best of luck for tonight. If you are watching as well, obviously the 5 of you watching at home, if the volume mix is a bit off, please let me know. I'll try and correct that as best I can. I know I've had issues previously with the cars being too loud, but they are donutting, so I want to stay away for a little bit if possible. Let's double check if we are good to start. There's been a bit of a delay here. Oh, there we go. Never mind. Right on time. So it's just quite like if you're not sure to put a coat on, if it's going to rain, you leave it at home, and as soon as you get where you need to be, it starts raining. You go home without your coat on. Very annoying. Impeccable timing. Nonetheless, we are ready for our first of 3 races here tonight at Watkins Glen Short Course. We'll jump on board at the back of the pack with Speed Hunter. You know, he normally finds quite a lot of pace in these races, but with no qualifying time, he will have to work for his points tonight. So, oops, that's the start then. Let me quickly jump back out of the way. Put that on the screen. Speed Hunter already making one place up there on ART Lango with a quick launch there from the BMW. Let's see how they make through turn 1. Everyone seems to be keeping it fairly clean. Just a bit of bumping there with Matt, but we are all good. So we're right on board then, looking back from Gina Quinney. Izzy Bonneville already looking for a move there up the inside, has to let one go, so Langston makes his way past Bonneville, maybe even past Gina Quinney, these 2 Korean cars careering down the straight, and it looks like Langston will have the outside line, but who is going to concede into turn, or into the chicane? Quinney lets that one go, Langston takes the inside line and assumes the lead for the time being. Quinney 2nd, Bonneville 3rd, Terminator 4th, Dutchy has made up 2 places already from the start into P5, Beardy McBeard in 6th, Cockers in 7th, Cuzzy, Ryan is bad in P8. Langston's been nudged a bit wide there by Quinney, maybe a bit of contact, and they've now been trying to box in Bonneville on the inside. He can make 3 wide to the end of the corner. No, they're not going to. Basically very close into this corner here. Bonneville goes back up the inside of Gina Quinney. Quinney now down to 3rd, Terminator 4th, Dutchy still in P5. Going to try and steal any of those places if there are any mistakes. Quinney's a little bit wide there into the last corner. He's not going to have the best of runs, and Dutchy around the outside of Terminator takes P4. Will Terminator hold the inside though for P5. Let's jump aboard from Gina Quinney's point of view. Terminator's going to try and keep his nose in. Dutchy can't hit the apex there. Runs wide, but will keep on the track, technically within the track limits of the rumble strip. So he had a fairly clean lap 1 now. I think we're all still in a train, which is nice to see. Big Mad Dancer saying Terminator full send to the end. That is exactly how he drives. He does not know any other way. Quinney there, he's still trying to stay within the slipstream of Bonneville. Bonneville trying to move on Langston. They are side by side into the bus stop. Langston will concede a tiny bit of door back in there and trying to nudge him through. Quinney's Tokyo drifting through that corner. Dutchy's made a way past Quinney with an unsafe rejoin, and he's in the wall, and he's taking Terminator with him. Quinney can't rejoin safely on the track. I think he's put Lango out wide as well there. Chris Boot has to try and pick up the pieces as well, but Quinney very unfortunately they're out in the wall. Speed Hunter far off into the ball as well, so we have to find out what's happened there. I think Gina Quinney might well get a warning there for an unsafe rejoin, even though it is mid-corner. You can't really go anywhere other than the inside line, but it's not worked out well for him, but not worked out for Speed Hunter either. So amidst all of that, Bonneville did take the lead off of Langston there in the first, just before the bus stop, so he's now in P1, 114 flat. And I must say, even with a little bit of practice, Langston and I just about made it into 114.2, so maybe with a little bit of slipstream to help there, Bonneville has jumped into the 14 flats already. We may well see some 13s as well as the race evolves. Bonival though still in P1 in that optical illusion style Nissan Silvia. I think temping for no hassle tonight. Lancaster in P2, Dutchy up to third with some very fortuitous moments there compared to his peers. Hocker's in P4, he's got Ryan is bad, you know, hunting him down there in P5. Hocker's without not a great executed bus stop. Are we going to see Ryan is bad swoop around the outside? I think we are. A very bold move there by the Silvia driver. Hocker's tries to keep his foot in, but he's just not got the power to match the Nissan. At the SR20 there, using it all its potential to pull away from the Toyota behind it. The little 86 that just can't hold its own here. We saw Hockers with a fantastic solo performance a few rounds ago at Lago Maggiore, but I don't think this is really going to suit him. I think I just heard some tyre squealing there. Someone in the wall. Someone was in the wall. It looks like Play Dutchy had a bit of a sideways moment there, and he may well be swallowed up soon by Ryan is bad. Let's have a look as he heads into turn 1. Not quite close for the time being, but that tyre score cannot have done Dutchy any favours. They seem to get a bit sideways there out of turn 1. So I think he's just about held that in one piece. Dutchy third, Ryan's badging over the half-second penalty, presumably on the final corner there. Hocker's right in the slipstream now. If he doesn't get overtake done, he'll still have an easy pass as they head back up towards the main straight. Hocker's though, is he going to go for that move early? No, I think he's going to settle, lift off the throttle as you see there, and just let Cuzzy keep his pace. Well, Cuzzy has not kept his pace. Cuzzy is sideways through the bus stop. A miraculous save, it must be said. That's held up Hockers, and now Beardy McBeard wants to get involved in this as well. He's looking at the inside of Hockers, but no move there. Ryan's badge, now has to serve a 1.5 second penalty for cutting on the bus stop. Hockers up into P4. Would he keep it though? Or it's going to be he can't make the move into the penultimate corner. Sidling back just a little bit there. Lango and Cuzzy are now both fighting for P6. Ryan Ibagino having just served his penalty, and that's going to be a three-way fight between Lango, Ryan and Terminator, all vying for P6 here as we head on to lap 5 of 16. Ginniquini, our pole sitter, now finds himself down in P9, a disastrous first race for him. Chris Boo down in P10 with a half-second penalty. That's likely going to drop him off of Quinny and into the clutches of Speed Hunter. Well, then again, with a 1.5 second penalty, Speed Hunter may not be able to catch him at all. We have Matt 237 at the back of the grid. Haven't quite seen what's happened to him, but clearly not a good night for him by any means. Bonival and Lancaster, goodness me, they're still side by side, but a 1.5 second penalty slapped onto Bonival there. That's going to cost him, but not this lap though. He's just accrued it too late for it to count for lap 5. You have to wait till lap 6 and hopefully pray that Lancaster makes a mistake. These two pulling away from the rest of the pack as Dutchy serves a half second penalty, I believe, there for an infringement of track limits. This is going to bring Hockers and Beardy McBeard into the fight for P3 potentially. Hockers still holding off Beardy McBeard despite that power deficit in the Toyota. You can still hear his tyres squealing as they head through this long right-hander of the final turn. Beardy in P5, Lango is just about fending off Ryan in P6, moving to the left side of the track, the right side of the track to avoid giving Ryan the slipstream down the straight. As we know, these cars are very, very momentum dependent. So any gains you make in the slipstream will be amplified down the stretch. Lango may have stretched those track limits a little bit too far. He has indeed. A 1 second penalty for him, a half second penalty for Ryan is bad, and nothing for the Terminator. He will be climbing 2 places after the bus stop, providing everyone else keeps it in one piece. Let's run on board then with the Terminator and see this from his point of view. Down to 4th gear, feathering the throttle, nails the apexes there. Excellent job there from our Great Dane, the Terminator. And now trying to hold that apex as tight as he can. Back onto full power, letting the car run naturally wide. He's going to gain these 2 places on our penalised drivers up ahead. So they almost drive into each other there. Ryan's badge, with the less severe penalty, diving out the way of Lango to take P7. Lango down to P8. And Quinny's now involved in the fight here in P9. Speed Hunter, meanwhile, not having a great time so far in P10, nor for Chris Boo or Matt at the back of the pack. Lancaster has managed to gap Bonival by 2 seconds. That penalty really has ruined Bonival's chances of keeping the win at this rate. He's now in 2nd, and he's got his close friend, Play Dutchy, for close company. Dutchy well within that slipstream there, 1.5 tenths and drop in as they head onto the first main straight here at Watkins Glen. Which way they're going to go? Bonneville will defend to the right hand side. Dutchy's having a look on the inside, then ducking back in, maybe waiting for another moment on the second straight here. They both clip those apexes beautifully. Dutchy using more of the curb, now feathering the throttle through the long right hander. Back onto the main straight, you can hear those tyres starting to struggle for grip. Bonneville runs just a little bit wide. He should be safe from a penalty, but he may not well be safe from the Flying Dutchman around the outside. They're side by side into the second to last corner. Dutchy just nips ahead. Bonneville jumping back onto the racing line, but not before he loses P2. Dutchy now having to defend as he heads into the final corner. It really is neck and neck racing. What a fantastic event we're going to have tonight. I am sure of it. Bonneville right up underneath play Dutchy. Is there a late move to the inside? No, doesn't look like it. Perhaps he's saving himself for the slipstream onto the back straight there. In fact, Dutchy's had a terrible exit off of the first corner. Bonneville will sweep up the inside and take P2. It looks like Dutchy might well try and grab it back though. They're side by side heading up the hill. This is tremendous racing. We're going to jump on board with play Dutchy in the Lexus here. A heap more power, but also a heap more weight. Bonneville will be happy with the bus stop. That little bit of a lighter car dancing through the corners here. Dutchy will be looking to straighten up this car as soon as he can and nail the throttle to the floor as they head onto the second straight here. On the power very early there, Bonneville again washing a little bit wide, Dutchy not so much, and it is giving him just a little bit of a benefit as they head down the straight. He's taken about half a tenth out of Bonneville on that straight alone, but it is not enough to secure him a place up the inside there. Jumping back a little way there, Beady McBeard has gotten past Hockers finally. Hockers with a half-second penalty to serve on the next lap as well means he may well fall into the clutches of the Terminator. We've got Ryan's badge, you know, in P8 now as Lango makes a move past him. Perhaps there was an incident there. Lango diving off into the pits, it seems. No, I think he's had to let somebody go, probably Gina Quinney there, due to an incident, or Speed Hunter. Speed Hunter's made up about 3 places in all of this. Ryan's badge, you know, is telling Lango to push on. Bit of bump drafting there down the straight, maybe a bit of a friendly encouragement. But either way, those two have been nose to tail since the start of the race. Chris Boo, they're down in P8. Matt237 not having the best race one. Perhaps more to come from him in race 2 and race 3 tonight. Langston meanwhile leads them round half of this race, has just passed. He is 2 and a bit seconds ahead of Bonneville, who's still got play Dutchy in his rearview mirror, but by a little bit less there. 0.4 of a second and closing. It's just a question of if Bonneville has the skill to elude the Dutchman, or if maybe he's just playing with his food there in P3. Time will tell. We've seen them both susceptible to mistakes so far this race. I believe Lax is one of the few drivers so far who's not put a foot wrong and managed to extend his lead. Not so much on this lap, but keeping that 2-second boundary fairly consistent. So we'll jump back very quickly as Beard McBeard leads round Hockers and Terminator in P4. A healthy gap between those two. Speed Hunter in P7, but with the fastest lap of the race there, 13.7. That is electric pace there from the Mauritian driver. Winnie in P8 has still got Lango and Ryan's bad for company. Just back in touching distance there, 6 tenths or so, so Lango will be in the slipstream there, as Cuzzy will be too, but a little bit further back there, 8 tenths of a second. He needs to stay on the back of that Toyota. He wants a chance at getting past Quinney as well. We shall through the pack very quickly, see if there's any more fighting going on. It looks like Dutchy is fighting here with Bonneville. Bonneville, I think, had probably maybe just conceded that spot there to Dutchy, but he's taking it back on the second straight. Inside line there for the penultimate corner, using all the rumble strip. Dutchy's trying to get the undercut on him there, but he has to take the racing line instead. Bit more momentum might carry him around the outside. They're going to be side by side heading over the line. Dutchy with the slingshot exit on the outside, and it's a drag race to the start finish. Bonneville takes it here, but they've still got 6 more laps to go. He's got the inside line. Dutchy will be able to go for maybe a little move underneath the Sylvia. No, he's going to go for the move around the outside, but Bonneville keeping him honest as far wide as he can. Bonneville might now have to try and open up the racing line a little bit to force him to kneel back, but instead Dutchy will push through that gap left open and they're still side by side. What incredible racing. Let's run on board there with Dutchy as we just nudge the camera right a bit, see exactly where he is. Sylvia just about has some pace there, so Dutchy will relinquish P2 for the time being. Let's see if there's a way to fight another day as they head into the long right-hander. You can hear the tyres there scraping, struggling to grip. Bonneville has washed very wide there. Dutchy swooping up the inside now with the power down. This should be an easy overtake made. If we have a look at their tyres, maybe just for comparison, Dutchy has maybe about 20% of that front left tyre gone on the wheel compared to Bonneville on the controller, who's got a little bit worse tyre wear. Still not bad by any means, but worse nonetheless. So now Dutchy has that move made. He needs to pull away as quick as he can. These drivers only briefly touching the 13s there. Bonneville with his 13.8 a few laps ago. Dutchy with a couple of 13s there, 13.8 as well on lap 9, but of course their battling is not going to do them any favours. Speaking of not doing them any favours, I think I just saw Beatty McBeard run a touch wide on the exit of turn 1. Yes, I did, and he's got a half-second penalty to serve this lap. Question is if the Terminator will be able to close the gap. Will it be Judgment Day for Beatty McBeard? We're going to find out in about, about 30 seconds, I reckon. We'll catch them up in a few moments then. Terminator P5, Speed Hunter in P6. He is making his way back up the grid slowly but surely. Say slowly but surely, he's got 13.7 under his belt. ART Hockers in P7, and then we've got a fight there. Late move from Ginniquini up the inside of Lango to take P8. Caught the Brazilian napping there, and a 1.5 second penalty to boot for Lango. He'll find himself down in P10 in not too much time, I'm sure. Meanwhile, checking in with Beatty McBeard. He has lost out to the Terminator indeed, and also to MFT Speed Hunter. Speed Hunter now up to P5 from the back of the pack. I think Terminator's just run very wide there on the last corner. Into the wall goes Beatty McBeard. Or was it not Beatty McBeard? Who was that in the wall? Goodness me. I think it might well have been Play Dutchy. He's just left the room. So I have to find out what's happened there, but that's far from optimal there. I can't see anyone else with damage. It must have been Dutchy in the wall. So, Terminator unexpectedly finds himself on the podium now with a fairly comfortable cushion to Speed Hunter. Speed Hunter, though, could well be lapping about 2 seconds a lap faster, which means we might well see a battle for the final spot on the podium at the very end of the race. It really is heating up here at Watkins Glen, and it's only race 1. Slap a like on the video. We're not even ready for the next bit yet. Goodness me. Anyways, quick recap here. Lancaster leads the race from Bonneville by about 8 or 9 seconds there. There you go, 8 to 9 seconds. Bonneville on P2, Terminator P3, and there's a train forming behind Speed Hunter, it looks like. No, it's not, it's behind Ginniquini. Speed Hunter 4th, Beardy 5th. We've got Quinny in 7th, closely followed by Ryan, Hockers, Lango. So there's still a battle going on for P6. Unfortunately for Hockers, the Toyota just doesn't seem to suit this track particularly well, with so many long accelerating corners and straights. The car that is say the most underpowered related to the others is definitely struggling here. And at the back we have Chris Boo in 10th and Matt 237 in P11. Let's jump forward one more time to this group here. We've got Ryan's Badgino really hustling Ginniquini. He is side by side as they head down the back straight. We'll jump forward sideways there as he moves to go straight past Quinny. Is there enough in the mirrors to guarantee that move? Just about, I think, and Ryan will make that move stick. So I'm trying to guide the camera with the analog stick here. Try and look into that apex, clip it just about here. Now he's back on the power, run nice and wide out to the apex, and that should be a comfortable move made there. And Ginniquini is indeed about 3/10 in hand as they hit the penultimate corner. Queenie though is catching that Genesis. When it does get the power down, it is pretty quick. But I see back there Hockers has picked up a penalty, presumably made for cutting the bus stop chicane, or perhaps running too wide on the exit of the long right hand sweeper there, and that may well throw him into the grasp of I think it's Chris Boo who's just behind him. Oh, it's Lango, I'm afraid. So Lango may well be stealing P8 in a few moments. A quick jump to the front of the pack there. Lancaster still with an 8-second gap there over Bonnival. Another half-second he seems to have gained on the previous lap. Bonnival there in P2. So he has finally overtaken. Oh no, sorry, he overtook Terminator ages ago. So it's still in P3. About the same gap though to Speed Hunt. Speed Hunt's taken about a second in that last lap alone. But I'm not too sure it's enough to guarantee him a chance on the podium unless there's a rare mistake from the Terminator. Speed Hunt's down in P4. Beardy is 5th. He's just about getting that gap ahead of Quinny by a second. Quinny though is still under lots of pressure there from Ryan Isbadgino. Both of them using all of the exit curves to head down the back straight for the second to last time. Ryan Isbadgino almost bump drafted him down the straight, maybe thinking if we can work together there's a P5 and a P6 rather than a 6 and a 7. Meanwhile behind us here Lango has just gotten past Hockers owed to that penalty. Hockers now down to 8, Hock's down to 9th, sorry, Lango up to 8. As we move on to the final lap of race 1 here at Watkins Glen. JRM in the chat, they're saying come on Lays, let's have a look at Lays as he moves around the long twisting complex of turn 1. He's still got 2 seconds over Speed Hunter, not losing too much here. Of course again that Sylvia is pretty quick down the straights. I think this may well be a pole for the Terminator. So he's in P3, Speed Hunter to stay in P4. We've got Beardy and Quinny battling for P5, 6. Ryan's badge, you know, is still lurking there in P7. This is going to be the fight to watch as we head round the second half of the lap. Here we go. We will very quickly give Lancaster his dues there as he crosses the line to take the first of 3 races tonight at Watkins Glen. Little slalom over the line for good measure and a handbrake turn, because why not? Bonnival will take P2. A half-second penalty there will not matter as Terminator comes across the line too far back to count. Speed Hunter's there in P4. Question is who's come out on top of this one? Beardy McBeard will hold off from Gina Quinny. Ryan is bad, you know. Goodness, Beardy's got a penalty right at the end. Oh, that is so unfortunate. Right on the final turn there. Langer coming home in P9, Chris Boo 10th and Matt 11th. But that means that Beardy McBeard would have originally held up that P5, but the pace from Ryan, who also overtook Quinny, it must be admitted as well, means that he will take 5th, Quinny up to 6th, Beardy demoted 2 places down to P7. Wow, what a race. And we've got 2 more of those to go. I cannot wait. In the meantime though, your race winner for race 1, ART Lancaster, will be back shortly for race 2. Don't go anywhere. So, to those of you who are joining us, we've just finished race 1 of 3 here at Watkins Glen Short Course. A fairly comfortable win there for ART Lancaster. Bonnival in P2. Dutchy, who was a close P3 for most of that race, disconnected, resulting in ART Terminator taking the final spot on the podium. We also saw a close fight for P5 among Beardy McBeard, Gina Quinny and Ryan Isbadgino. Ryan Isbadgino getting the overtake on Quinny on the final lap, and very unfortunately for Beardy, a half-second penalty bumped up to a full second on the line, cost him P5 and 6 down to P7 there. A very exciting race nonetheless, and I'm looking forward to the next 2. Lays in the chat there saying, thanks boys, it was a good one. Bonnival saying it got a bit heated between Dutchy and Beardy. Bonnie, if you're still tuned in, would you mind dropping us a comment and explaining what you know? Of course, I'm not here to stir up any gossip or cause any bad blood, but those of you at home who saw as much as I did, if not less, if there's any context, it would be good to know and share that with the viewers. Big Mad Daz there saying, good race. Good race? Understatement of the week. That was an electric race. An incredible race, and we still got 2 more left. So I think they're all readied up now and about to head into race 2. Bad does this. Okay, great race. There we go. He knows greatness when he sees it. So, if I double check quickly, I believe this one is a set by host. So this should be, I think it is that first race, I believe, sets the grid for this race. I'll double check because I know I do this every week, every other week when I'm not unwell. So let's very quickly look here. I know I've made a note of it somewhere. Yes, so race 2 based on the race 1 results, I think it is. So that should be Lancaster on pole, Bonnievale 2, Lays 3rd, and so on and so forth. Oh, I did need to mention as well, of course, that we would have had a Chris R390 on the intro tonight, but unfortunately, as I was delayed getting back to start the commentary, he had to get the Tier 2 lobby running on time, so I wasn't able to have him on the show. I don't believe there are any penalties for the Tier 1 guys that we're seeing today. A couple, though, in Tier 2, which have caused some points amendments on the table. I think if you've got a moment, I'll see as well if I can quickly find our points table. See how the drivers are doing, at least in Tier 1. Let's have a look. Where are the last sets of tables? So in Tier 1, Play Dutchy, who has just disconnected, who was leading the table for Tier 1 as of the start of this evening's races. Lancaster was 2nd, Quinny 3rd, Hockus 4th, Speed Hunter 5th, Chris Boo 6th, Beardy 7th, then Lango, Matt, No Hassle, who's been replaced for tonight by Bonnievale. So that was the provisional leaderboard for our drivers tonight. 2 minutes, says Hockus, so possibly just a little internet issue going on maybe in the background there. Well, I guess while I've got the time, and we're actually at a real track, let's find maybe some interesting little factoids about Watkins Glen. Let's have a look. Watkins Glen, courtesy of my friend Wikipedia. Watkins Glen, nicknamed the Glen, is just outside of Watkins Glen in New York, at the southern tip of Seneca Lake. It hosted the Formula 1 US Grand Prix for 20 years. And it still hosts many popular formats such as the Trans Am and Can-Am. We get NASCAR, IndyCar race here as well. Many exciting formats, but definitely none as exciting as the TCR. So we've got the reverse grid happening in fact then. So we're going to get underway in a few seconds. We've got our 5 red lights. I need to get ready to quit so I can jump back in. Okay, they're underway. Let's move back to the back of the pack one more time. And riding on board with previous race winner ART Lancaster. Let's see how they make through turn 1. We've got some 3 wides going on ahead there. Avoiding contact with Beardy McBeard. It seems that everyone is through once again in one piece. Lancaster trying to get out of the traffic on the outside by cutting into the inside. That's already gained him about 3 spots there just off the first corner. Can he find his way though through the traffic as they head up towards the bus stop where we really are going to see them all bunch up in a big concertina? We jump back with Matt as Chris Boo looks up the inside. A very bold move to do it. Chris Boo has got the inside, a bit of contact there. Forced Matt onto the inside. Chris Boo's gone off track there. Be careful with the rejoin. He's rejoined right in the path of Gina Quinney. jumped wide, taking out Ryan a little bit there. Chris getting a penalty for shortcutting some of that corner there, but this allows Cuzzy, Ryan and Quinny on the inside. Crucially as well, gives Matt a chance to break away. Just a little bit of respite for him there. JRM saying Lancaster in beast mode. Indeed. Cutting through that traffic like Gordon Ramsay through onions. So, Matt in P1, Ryan's Badger in P2, but he's got Quinny hot on his heels indeed. In P3, Bonnie Val, it must be said there, starting from P10, already up into P4. You've got Lancaster did well. Look at this guy. 6 places in 1 lap. And it looks like we may well need a restart here. Let's find out exactly what's happened as the drivers return to the pit lane. I'll say that was an incredible start there. We're going to do it again? I hope so. Hopefully we'll get some context for that. But I say great start by Lancaster. I completely missed the fact that Bonnie Val went through about 6 people there in a minute. So fantastic driving from him. But anyway, yes, while we're waiting for them to drive again, Watkins Glen hosts NASCAR, Can-Am, Trans Am, IndyCar. So a lot of course, American Specialist Series run there. The current lap record, as far as I can tell, of the full circuit is held by Sebastian Bourdais in the IndyCar from 2017. And it does provide some really close racing, it must be said. Unfortunately, I think this is where Kimi Räikkönen, if I remember right, I think had his first NASCAR race and his first NASCAR crash just coming out of the bus stop, I believe. I think he was exiting the bus stop, got clipped on the inside, and rather than turning right to go along the sweeper, he ended up turning left, face first into a barrier, and his NASCAR event was very short-lived. Hopefully, that doesn't happen to our drivers tonight. So one more time, our 5 red lights for race 2, and we are underway. Again, I apologise for having to quit out the thing every time, but that's just how GT Sport works. Speed Hunter at the back of the pack, not too sure why that is. Meanwhile though, we will jump back on board with ART Lancaster as he tries to pick his way through the traffic for a second time. He goes wide this time. Any success up there? Not quite, not even half as much. Question is, how are the rest of the pack going to fare through this twisty segment here? Lancaster keeping to the racing line, trying to pick his way through. Are there any spaces here? Terminator to the outside. Space opens up on the inside. Lancaster will take that one. Meanwhile, at the front of the pack, Matt 237 is going to pick his way through the bus stop. He makes it easily. Chris Boo in P2 there. Hockers is now the cork in the bottle here. Lango clipped possibly by Gina Quinny and in the dirt. Hockers gets a 1.5 penalty there for track limits as he goes past Matt there, who may well have a bit of a slow run through that corner. Quinny also with a 1 second penalty there. I think it's just about held off Beardy McBeard there, pinched in behind Matt 237. So it really is kicking off here, race 2. Beard up the inside there, Bonnie Bell on the inside. He's also got Ryan's Bad for company. They are 3 wide heading into that final corner. I've not seen a single driver hit that apex apart from Terminator, who I think has taken about 2 places in that corner by itself. And we've got a train there of almost 4 cars nose to tail, almost 3 wide into the first corner again. Tony's going to try and hold off Lancaster around the outside. Lancaster will get his foot down early, try and push around, keep the car going. Not going to happen there though. And now they are all, not even single file, they are top to bottom, bumper to bumper, up the hill there from P5 down to P10. Incredible close racing, and unfortunately Lango, with his spin on the exit there, has cost him a lot of time. Fighting just ahead though, I believe we've got Bonnie Val. He's got Lancaster company side by side. Bonnie will have to let that one go. No one else in his mirror for the time being, fortunately, but it is starting to heat up in the midfield. Just ahead of us though as well, I think Beard McBeard's going to gain 2 places there as Hockers with a 2.5 second penalty. That's going to ruin his race there. Quinny with a 1 second penalty will allow the McBeard up into McSecond. He's now got to make a lot of gains now if he wants to catch up with Chris Boo, who I think has had a great job there of avoiding all the trouble and chaos, giving himself a 2.3 second lead there and a real chance to run away. with some valuable points in race 2. Beatty taking over the line there with a 1:14.5, so not a bad time there for lap 2, and I know we will see those times fall even further as the race progresses. He's taken a third of a second already out of Chris Booth from that first corner alone, and it really does set you up for the next, I'll say another maybe 30 seconds of track time once you get going onto that back straight. So Lancaster already up into P3, Terminator to 4th, Bonneville to 5th. So our top 3 drivers, starting from the last 4 spots on the grid, are already back in the top 5. A real big climb for them. Lancaster though has missed that apex by a country mile. He's going to get a definite penalty for that one. Bonneville up the inside. Lancaster have to lift off for dirty tyres. Terminator also up the inside, and with a half-second penalty to boot. He will just about get away though from Ryan Isbad, who runs a little bit wide there on the exit with a 2-second penalty. Let me Speed Hunter, Gina Quinney, Matt 237 and Hockers will all pass him, and he's gained another half-second penalty running wide just before the penalty zone. That's incredibly unfortunate. Ryan is bad, you know. And unfortunately Lango at the back there with some time to make up. He'll gain a little bit on Cuzzy, on Ryan in the next lap or so, but probably not enough to make a place there. Bonneville takes the new fast lap at 1:14.4, and again that's nowhere near his real pace. There's another half-second in there once he gets himself out of traffic. Beardy McBeard taking another 2/10 or so there out of Chris Boo, but he might lose a little bit here in the Toyota as he heads up the hill. And crucially, he will have to start looking in his rearview mirrors in a few moments as Bonneville lays and Lancaster into the bus stop there, gaining on Beardy, hand over fist every time they go through a corner. Bonneville in P3, Terminator in 4th, Lancaster is 5th. He's going to have Speed Hunter go past him in a moment there. If not from the penalty zone, then just from a much better corner exit. I think he's done that already. Lancaster into 5th, make that 6th. Quinney's not going to serve his penalty yet, but he's got 1.5 seconds, so I'm sure Lancaster will get that back very soon. Hockey's down in P8, he's got Matt 237 for close company. Ryan's badge, in P10. Lango gaining on him by about half a second come the end of the straight, but still not really enough. In fact, I think Lango must have had a penalty of his own there, so Lango not even gaining on Ryan. That's going to really throw a spanner in the works for him. Chris Boo trying to run away from Beardy, but I think maybe he's compromised in that first corner just a little too much. Gaining on the entry, but losing it on the exit, and then some. Beardy trying to reel him back in from 2 and a bit seconds down, almost 3. Bonneville is now within 1 second of Beardy McBeard, and soon, in fact now, he will indeed be grasping the very ends of that slipstream. He'll have Terminator for company as well. Terminator side by side with Speed Hunter into the bus stop. Terminator will keep P4. Speed Hunter's going to have to fight a lot harder than that, as they've overtaken Lancaster with a penalty, I believe, on the previous lap. Quinney with a 1.5 second penalty to serve on this lap will definitely put him behind Lancaster down in P7. He may well also be jumped by Hockers in P8. Let's have a look. Hockers will definitely clear him here on the inside. How about Matt 237? Just about having before the corner. Very fortunate there for Matt to avoid being caught up in traffic behind the Genesis. And Ryan Isbad down in 10th place with a slew of penalties, hoping to try and catch back up with his closer rivals there. Lap 6 of 16, Chris Boo still leading the pack. He's made again another little gain on the entry there, will cost him a bit more on the exit, but he's now further away. He's taken another 3/10 away from Beardy McBeard, who has lost about almost a second there to Bonneville. He's got 2.25 tenths in hand heading up the hill. Make that 1.5 tenths, make that 1/10, and now Beard's looking in his rearview mirror as Bonneville moves up the inside. A little toot of the horn just to rub insult to injury. Beardy has to lead the space, but he's run very wide as a result. Terminator catching him very quickly as we run on board with him there. It's going to be a late dive up the inside. Beardy's seen it coming, but Terminator can't force himself into that space. Speed Hunter though will know he's had a compromised run out of that corner. Beardy running very wide, just about keeping it on the rumble strip, I think. But these guys will be fighting very tenaciously for that final spot on the top of the podium. Well, for final spot on the podium, I should say, not the top of the podium. There's only one of those. I think still Beardy and Speed Hunter running a little bit wide into that final corner, but they're just about keeping it on the legal track limits. We see this battle is to start bringing more drivers in. We can see behind in there, Lancaster and Hockers are trying to get a piece of this cake as well. Hockers as well setting a 1:13.9, an excellent lap for a Toyota, it must be said. So he can definitely smell the blood in the water there as Beardy McBeard starts to lose a bit of time there to Bonnie Val. He's almost lost a second to him on this lap alone. This is going to be crucial. He needs to keep that slipstream if he wants to hold off the drivers behind, but I think Terminator may well be sizing this up before they even get to the corner. Beardy covers to the left, Terminator moves to the right. They're going to be having a drag race into the bus stop. Is Beardy can concede again? He's not, but he's not hit the apex. He's off into the dirt. He's blocked off Speed Hunter and Lancaster as well. Lancaster having to dive the inside to dodge it. Lancaster the beneficiary there. Terminator runs very wide off track. He's going to lose some places there. And Lancaster from P6, I believe, up to P3 in just a few turns, courtesy of some errors in front of him. Beardy, for his troubles, gets a half-second penalty on top of the dirty tyre. So these few corners are not going to be fun by any means. He's run a little bit wide there as well. I think he's just about kept it on the rumble strip there, avoiding another penalty. But he's going to be very frustrated with that performance there. Hawkins in P6, Terminator having gone down to P7, I think, getting a little bit untidy out of the bus stop and almost taking up some of the other drivers for company. So our current running order, Chris Boo has done very well to try and get away from the other drivers, but now Bonnival is sizing him up for a move into the bus stop. He's going to tuck back into the strip stream just a touch more there to ensure he gets it done before the braking zone. Now he'll move wide. Chris Boo will try and force him a longer way round, but to no avail. Bonnival is now leading, but who has got the better braking zone? Bonnival chops right across Chris Boo, has to park it in the middle of the chicane to make sure he doesn't run off like Terminator did, but he gets the move done. He's up into P1. Chris Boo down to 2. Lancaster in 3rd. I don't know if I can make these rhyme anymore. Speed Hunter down into 4th. Beardy into 5th, but with a penalty that's going to give 6th and 7th a chance to pass him. They pass him in unison. Beardy with another 2 places lost to a penalty. He saw that at the end of the last race. He's seen it in the middle of this race. He needs to stop those penalties. He knows it. Ginniquini down in P8. Matt 237 in 9th. Ryan's badge, you know, is just drawing onto the back of them now in P10. Lango in P11. Not the best race for him. So we know Bonnival has now got an excellent chance to put his foot down and see if he can take any more time out of Speed Hunter's purple lap there, 1:13.7. Chris Boo still with a fairly sizable and healthy gap back to Lancaster, but we saw if Bonnival can chop that gap down within 2 or 3 laps, we should well see Lancaster back on the tail of P2, say within the next 3 to 4 laps. Plenty of time for him to take another spot on the podium. Lancaster in P3, he's got Speed Hunter behind him in P4, again the fastest man on track at the moment, just set a 1:13.7, maybe with a touch of slipstream to help, but still a fantastic lap time, it must be said. How does he fare on this next lap around, still with the slipstream of Lancaster? He crossed the line, is only a half a tenth down, so still banging in the 13s, the late 13s, the high 13s, a really consistent, excellent lap time here from Speed Hunter. Nice line into the final turn, keeps the apex closely, runs out wide, preserves the momentum of the car, and he's going to cross the line. Will he best his time? Not quite, only just there, another 13.8, an excellent effort there from the man from Mauritius. Behind him though, we're going to need an excellent effort from the Terminator here. He is in P5, and he's got a trainer cars behind him. In fact, someone has just gone off. Who has gone off there at the back of the pack, I believe? And that is Chris Boo from P2. I thought Lancaster would give him a bit more of a fight there to catch up, but Chris Boo has lost it on the exit. And all the way down to P11. That is so unfortunate for the man there. Oh, I do feel for him. Bonnival though, perhaps maybe taking his eyes off the ball there, having seen Chris Boo off into the dirt. Has earned up a half-second penalty. Shouldn't matter loads here, but Lancaster has also been outdone by a Speed Hunter. Again, maybe making a benefit of the chaos there with Chris Boo at turn 1. Lancaster down to P3, and in fact he's got Terminator closing on him now in P4. You see Lancaster's actually got damage, so maybe those two came together at the exit of turn 1, and that has really held Lancaster up during this lap. Lancaster though has now had that damage repaired. He's back up to full racing speed. He's going to need to be as well. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars all within striking distance should he make a mistake. So the pressure is on now to keep P3 from the front of this train. Let's jump back there to ART Lankster as he tries to escape the Terminator. He's just about doing so. He's not got slipstream to Speed Hunter, but he is only bit by bit pulling out the slipstream of the Terminator. But I think he's just kept in by the very skin of his teeth there, by a thousandth of a second. He's still there, but he's defending wildly from ART Hockers into the bus stop. That will cost him time eventually. Hockers keeps it clean there through the chicane, as does Terminator. Everyone doing very well. The Hockers without the best run. I think compromise trying to make the move on Terminator means that Quinny has a chance, and I think Beardy is just sticking his nose up the inside there of Quinny's inside line. They're going to be side by side. Question is Hockers going to block either one of them off from making the move into the penultimate corner? Hockers taking his normal racing line. Beardy on the inside there, or it was the outside, but Quinny's taking the inside instead. He's in P6, Beardy in 7th, and Cuzzy, I think Beardy's maybe not seen Cuzzy there, put Cuzzy onto the grass. Cuzzy with a 1.5 second penalty though. Hopefully there won't be any hard feelings there, but Cuzzy's not going to be happy with that 1.5 second penalty. He will definitely lose a place there to Matt, and possibly to Lango as well. Let's have a look. Lango, I think, is just coming down the straights. That could cost Cuzzy when they head onto the back straight. Goodness me, I'm running out of breath. I get absolutely parched as well. It really is heating up now. So at the front of the pack, I should say, Bonnival with a comfortable 4.5 second lead over Speed Hunter. Lankster's trying to reel him in, but he's not in the slipstream just yet. We saw earlier Lays battling with Hockers. That's cost him the slipstream to Lankster. So now he's going to keep his eyes in his mirror rather than ahead, I think. Hockers still under threat there from Gina Quinny. We know that Genesis with the four-wheel drive is going to hug those corners really tight. And in fact, he's going to try and slingshot around the outside of Toyota with all that extra grip. It's going to be a drag race down to the penultimate corner, and Quinny, I think, has this one in the bag. They are door to door into the final corner, and Quinny, despite the compromised line, still gets that move done into P5. Hockers in 6th, Beardy in 7th. Matt is down to 8th. Ryan is bad, you know. We saw concede that penalty down into P9. Lango, though, 2 and a bit seconds away, cannot make any progress for the time being. Lap 13 of 16. I don't know where to look. There's just so many battles going on. There's fighting all throughout the pack. I'll jump on with Hockers. Let's see if he's got a way to answer to Gina Quinny, having overtaken him on the previous lap with a very audacious move, it must be said. Let's see, he is well within the slipstream there of the Genesis. The Toyota, almost like a fly on a dog's back, just trying to take there. There's a bump on the outside. Quinny has just about left him racing room. Hocker sends it around the outside and he makes the move on Quinny. What a move. But he's got a 1 second penalty for the track limits. Oh, I thought he'd nailed that. But Polyphony have said no, and he's got a 1 second penalty for his troubles instead. What a shame. What a bold move that would have been from ART Albon, as we might call him. I believe he is half-tie. Well, no full, or definitely full measures from the half-tie there. Really bold move, but he's got a 1 second penalty instead, so he'll be saying bye-bye to P5. Beardy McBeard and those two behind him as well. Matt and Ryan is bad, you know, still nose to tail here finally. May well make the boast of that penalty on Hockers. Ryan's bad got up the inside of Matt, who's the last of the late breakers. I think it may well be Ryan, but Matt's looked for the inside cutback. Ryan is pushed very wide there to the very limits of the track. I don't know if he's incurred a penalty though. He seemed to have a foot on the white on the rumble strip. He did indeed. So the question is now, is there more power in that flat 4 in the Silvia or in the straight 6 of the BMW? Looks like the Silvia has just about got the beans to pull away. And we're going to jump forward very quickly there to Hockers, who's still battling with Gina Quinny. Still side by side. Hockers trying to go around the outside of Quinny now instead, into the sweep, through the sweeper, and he does indeed, but Quinny with that full drive traction is going to try and hold it as long as he can. Hockers now serves his penalty down to 6th, down to 7th, down to 8th. Matt won't get him, but he's now taken 3 places from that penalty. And Matt there on the exit of that corner, racking up a half-second penalty. Probably not enough to put him into the clutches of Lango, but may just do enough damage to put him out of the fight for P8 and 7 there. So Bonnival there, comfortably running away with this race. The fastest lap of 1:13.7 he set on lap 9, and a 6-second gap there. A little toot of the horn there, he knows he's on camera. From Bonnival there, up in P1, a 6-second gap there to Speed Hunter. He's got a half-second penalty and a half-second gap to Langster, so we're definitely going to see a position change on the back straight. If there are no incidents leading up to it, Langster's just got to hold on to him. Speed Hunter running very close to another off-track excursion there. Let's see what the game says of that one. I think he had a couple tyres on the grass, but he should have just about survived, which he did. Regardless, if you look back there, Langster will breeze past along the outside. Speed Hunter though just far enough away from Terminator to not have to worry about any more position there. Terminator though, he won't say no to a second, third place finish, having fought and driven very consistently and very carefully to secure it in race 1. Terminator though fortunately has a healthy gap back to his nearest rivals as he starts his final lap of the race. We've got Quinny in P5 and Ryan's bad, you know, past Beardy and Beard. They are all battling now for this 5th place. Again, another fantastic midfield fight we've got going on here with Beardy and Ryan and Quinny. The question is, will the roles reverse? Will Beardy have his revenge on the final lap of race 2? We saw him thrown down the mine there. Really stuffed it at the end with a half-second penalty, bumped up to a full one, and he lost 2 places as a result. Quinny, I think, is trying to be extra considerate of the track limits just to make sure he doesn't make the same mistake. It looked like Cuzzy was gaining on him for a second there, but now I think Quinny is starting to pull away through this long sweeping right-hand corner. We can see those Bonnival heads through the final corner. We'll watch him as he crosses the line for a fairly convincing win from P10, I believe he was on the grid. A great race for him. He'll be more than happy with that result. Langster though almost caught Speed. In fact, he did catch Speed Hunter. Langster takes Speed Hunter on the final lap of the race to take P2. Speed Hunter 3rd, Terminator 4th. Quinny will be in 5th. Cuzzy right on his tail in 6th. Beard nose to tail as well with Hockers for 7th and 8th respectively. Matt in P9, Lango in P10, and Chris Boo, who led so much of this race, having kept his nose clean for a vast chunk of it, unfortunately could not make it work and finds himself out the back for race 2. Very unfortunate. Your race winner though for race 2 of 3 tonight, Watkins Glen, Bonnival 99. We'll be back very soon with the final race of tonight's proceedings. Don't go anywhere. Bonnival taking the win there for race 2 of 3. The room being reset for the final showdown tonight here at Watkins Glen. So we can see that it should be the reverse grid or the set grid. No, this was the reverse grid we just had. So I think this final race should set, well, the second should set the grid for the final one. I forget every week. My brain's absolutely frazzled today, I do apologise. But what I can guarantee is we are definitely going to see more crazy races, more fantastic battles on track before we see the end of tonight's event. Just make sure we're all ticking in. The race should start in a few moments. I believe after this one at Watkins Glen, I think there's only one more round next week, which should be held at the fairly newly released Road Atlanta. which I think will be absolute madness in these cars. Lots more close racing. I think something we've really learnt from running this series for the second time. The shorter circuits really have made for some more exciting racing for the drivers. It's had me on tenterhooks as a commentator, and I think we are very likely going to get this series renewed for a third series in a few months' time. It's been very popular. We've literally doubled the size of it since we started back in, I want to say back in, oh goodness, when was it? Was it August, September? It was like an age away. But yes, we're going to have this series on for another series in the next few months. If you want to get involved and you're not already involved, or if you want to get involved in a wide variety of leagues and special events, doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter how good you are, doesn't matter what you drive on. Even if you're watching at home and you're a certain member of our community who still uses the X and square buttons like a Gran Turismo 3 relic, there's no judgment, no prejudice. You're all welcome. Please make sure you join the Discord via the link in the description below. And if you are interested in taking part, we're also going to be running a Race Against Cancer charity live stream. All proceeds going to Cancer Research UK in aid of two of our dear colleagues who were unfortunately diagnosed last year, but are doing their very best to make as quick and painless a recovery as possible. We are very much thinking of them. They know who they are. And if you want to get involved, again, please hit our Discord link below. That will give you an option to join our server. You can take part in the race, or if it's just a cause that means a lot to you personally and you want to donate, we would be more than happy to welcome your donations. We have already hit our target of £250, and we're hoping to double that by the time we get to our stream. It's going to be a really exciting prospect, so please do consider joining. Lay's there saying smash the like button. There's 6 of you that are watching, please do smash the like. We got 5 likes already. Fantastic to see. Can we get 7 likes before we shut down the stream tonight? That would be incredible. So Hockey says we'll be starting in 2 seconds. I think we've got our final reverse grid tonight based on what I see on the right hand side. So Chris Brew has another chance to start from pole again. Hopefully it'll last a little bit longer. I have to see maybe the pack is decided to try and bunch up a little bit tighter and avoid the oncoming storm of Bonnival and Lankster and Speed Hunter and the Terminator, of course. I guess he really wasn't kidding when Big Mad Daz said full send to the end. He's had an incredible evening so far, and you know what, I'm going to rate him as my driver of the day. I think, provided he has a good result in the race 3, he'll be driver of the day. Consistent effort there and really good finishes. Possibly just a couple of more lobby tweaks and issues, and of course Gran Turismo 7, known for being a complete and flawless, immaculate video game. But of course, maybe the people that are using it have got a couple of things to sort out before we get going. Perhaps things going on at home, dogs run to your pedals, partners shouting about washing being left in the machine, answering the call of nature. Mr. Tiddlywick, if you're watching, our excellent expert on those. We got Chris Char in the chat there. This is epic racing. I don't know why, I just read that comment and my head's gone, this is Rocket League, as the meme goes. But this is indeed epic racing. I'm glad you're enjoying the stream. Of course, a shame that you're not involved in this one. From what I told, you couldn't take part tonight, but I'm really grateful you are tuned in. Please make sure you and your friends get to drop a like on the stream. Of course, I'll say something generic about the YouTube algorithm and make the channel grow. Lay saying this is the longest 2 seconds ever. You tell me. 2 seconds is probably longer as a commentator than the driver, I can tell you that much. I can't imagine what it must be like for the likes of Jimmy Broadbent when they have to delay the Gran Turismo live stream for the World Finals. They've got to invent something on the cusp of what was I saying? I'll say on the spot, on the cusp. off the cuff. That's the phrase I'm trying to think of. I don't know why I said cusp and whatever it was. Goodness me, Freudian slip. So I think the fastest lap we've seen so far tonight, we're looking at 1:13.7, I think is our current best lap. Seen a couple of those, I think, from Bonnival, from Speed Hunter. I think see a 13.5. We'll be doing very, very well tonight. I think for our guys in Tier 2 who have not had a look at tonight, if they're getting into the 13s as well, then they're showing some really good pace and some great development as well. But it's not Tier 2 we're here to focus on tonight. It is the Tier 1 race. They're about to get underway. So let's see how we do. Race 3 of 3. We got 9 likes on the video. You guys are amazing. Can we hit 10? Can we hit 10? Bonnival says only Langster. So yes, there was an issue with Langster there. I'm not too sure. A little toot of the horn again as we get ready for race 3. Chris Boo on pole one more time. So he's away. I hope he is indeed away. Matt is definitely away. Great start there from Matt from second place there, trying to get past Lango. So we're going to have maybe even a 4 wide through that first corner. Lango back keeps it in one piece with a bit of contact there. I think we saw there bumper to door. That's impeding just a touch there against Matt, but I think Ginny Quinny's giving him a bit of a nudge up the straight. He wants him to get a move on. He's got some points to grab to support his teammate Chris R390 down in Tier 2. But we've got Hockers there in P5, and again, he seems to be the cork in the bottom of some of the faster cars and faster drivers stuck behind him. So anyone going for a late lunge there? Not too sure. I think Speed Hunter thought about lunging on Ryan, then thought better of it. Of course, you can't win the race on turn 1. So it's not worth trying some of those dive bombs that we've seen before. Hockers though still trying to fend off the 6 other drivers behind him like a swarm of angry bees. Of course, most of these cars buzzing. These are big, 4-cylinder engines they've got. The world's gone mad for 4 cylinders, haven't they? Eco-friendliness and all this stuff. Bring back the V12s, as Seb would say. Regards though, lap 2, Chris Boo leads Matt 3v7 by 0.6 of a second. Gina Quinny's going to go for a move at the inside of Matt. A very late lunge there. A bit of door banging. Matt's going to have a compromised line there. And it looks like Lango is going to try and take a move on the inside of him as well. They're side by side up the hill. Lango now past Matt and crucially quickly tucked into the slipstream of Gina Quinny to keep that P3. Matt is in P4. I think someone's just back raised the barrier there. And now we've got a real cluster. I'm going to jump on board with Bonnival as he's got a front row seat through all of this. This could get very messy very quickly as looks like Langster's gone off the road there. Very unfortunate. Speed Hunter's gone wide. He's on the grass. Crazy rejoin there. Bonnival tries to duck underneath. He just about gets it done, but our main drivers there, Speed Hunter and Langster, find themselves in the mud on lap 2. And Bonnival, the beneficiary of all of this, I think if he can't be stopped now from lap 2, there's going to be almost no chance of stopping him once he gets towards the front of the pack. You can see the drivers behind him are still squabbling for everything from P6 down to 11. And I think this will only mean that Bonnival will almost certainly have this one in the bag, provided he keeps his pace up. 1:15.2, yeah, not his best lap, being lap 2, being caught in traffic, but we'll definitely see him put in some faster times. As I think that may well have been, was that Quinny running wide? No, it's Lango running wide. He earns a 1 second penalty for his troubles. Quinny did as well, 1.5 second. Chris Boo lets him go. Maybe there was a nudge off the track there. He's trying to be a bit more courteous and let him go. We can see here double penalties to be served, and Hockers, who's just about managed to get away from that grip behind him, and urging Lango to get a move on so we can pull away from Bonnival. Hockers might well find himself up in the top 2. We're going to ride on board though with Chris Boo, I think, because as Chris Boo flies past Quinny, we'll see who else is going to follow him through. Bonnival being ushered very wide there by Hockers. Just about respecting the track limits, but no respect for authority, it seems here. There goes Quinny, shot down the pack there into P2. Hockers will overtake him, as will Bonnival. Quinny might well fall prey to Terminator. He does indeed, according to the Delta. Quinny losing 3 places there. Ryan Spagino also making up a place on Lango up into P6. Chris Boo leads them around to the final corner to start lap 4 of 16. Hockers up into P2, gets the fastest lap, but only for a fraction of a second as Bonneville takes it right back off from a 1:14.2. Now we're going to start putting some hot laps in indeed. Bonneville up into P2, Hockers to 3rd, Terminator into 4th, and Quinny right behind him in P5. We've got Ryan Isbadgino in P6, Speed Hunter in 7th, Lango in 8th with a 1 second penalty to serve. Langston down in P9 following his drifting moment at the chicane, maybe a slightly unorthodox corner technique there. Beard McBeard down into P10 as well, right at the back of the pack. And he's got Matt 237 things. He's got damage, you can see at the front as well. Means Matt will have an easier overtake up into P10, and Beardy, now with his damage fixed, has to tuck back into the slipstream and make some gains and make them quickly. Chris Boo not had a great lap there, and he now sees himself with only half a second back on Bonneville. I think maybe Bonnie also on the horn again, urging him to get out of the way, but this isn't London rush hour traffic. He's rushed a little bit wide there out of that second to last corner. You can see he's sliding about with dirty tyres, a half second penalty to boot as well, and look at all the cars piling up behind him. We've got their Hockers, Terminator, Quinny, Ryan's bad. I think he's just about in the back of that shot as well. He is maybe even Speed Hunter. Bonneville will have to put in the lap of his life. He's going to try and duck away from these drivers behind him. I can think he's going to lose at least 3 places here, maybe more. And Speed Hunter will be very curious to find out how he fares. Chris Boo, in fact, lets Bonneville go. Very surprised to see that. Maybe not wanting to be challenged into the chicane, but in fact Hockers is going to challenge him instead. Hockers dives to the inside of the chicane, just about keeps it on the black stuff. That's cost them a lot of time there to Bonneville. He'll have a second over them by the time they get out of the final right-hander. And then really that's the last thing Hockers should have tried to do, Chris Boo should have tried to do. They should have stayed in single file and tried to catch up to Bonneville, because that penalty has been completely negated by that back lane. Hockers cannot think of diving up the inside here. Bonneville keeps the lead, and if he keeps it clean, this should well be his race to lose. Hockers has done well to keep P2, but now you see the cars piling in one by one through the final corner. We've got Hockers in P2, Terminator 3rd, Quinny 4th, Speed Hunter and Ryan's badge, Ryan defending from Speed Hunter there to keep P5. P6, sorry, it looks like, but Speed has gone round past him anyway. Is that a car in the back? I think I just missed a car in the background, did I? No, that was the barrier. I do apologise. It's a barrier breaking off from the exit of the corner. So we now got Terminator in 3rd here, as Bonneville still hasn't quite got away out of that first sector, so he needs to put his foot down. Is Terminator going to jump past Hoggins in the chicane? No, maybe they're going to start working together, try and bump draft each other up the road. But you see all the drivers not using all of that inside curve, and Bonneville has taken half a second out of these guys alone just by that more optimal line through the bus stop. Meanwhile, the suboptimal line through the sweeper. This means Terminator and Quinny trying to get past. Quinny locked Terminator in behind Hockers. Tactical drive in there. Terminator didn't know he was there. Some door banging down the straight there. Fortunately, they're clean. Quinny, though, has lost a place to Speed Hunter on the inside, and another one to Ryan's badge. He will fight that one back with the inside line. Ryan's badge will go straight around the outside, keeping the slipstream, and Quinny losing 2 places in that scuffle. And if Chris Boo has anything to say about it, he'll be on the back of this pack. So we've got a huge train forming there. P1 to P6, all within 2.5 seconds. So any mistakes will be gobbled up by the rest of this pack. We need to drive as closely and as sensibly and as consistently as possible. Consistency really being the name of the game here on lap 7. Bonneville leads by 0.7 of a second. Not enough to break the slipstream, but enough to give Hockers something to think about, though, as Hockers takes almost 0.4 out of the purple lap time there. Slipstream, of course, will be doing him a little bit of a favour, but with losing time to Bonneville and losing more time behind him to Terminator, it's hard for him to tell if he's looking in his front through the windscreen or through the rear view mirror. A little bit wide there on the exit, but keeping some of that all-important momentum here. Terminator won't be able to make a move, but Speed Hunter might just think about it, or at least show his nose at the final corner. No, Speed Hunter's going to duck out of that one, keeping it in the tank for another day. Running very wide though in the last corner. He may just pick up a penalty for track limits. If not, he's a very lucky boy. He is indeed a very lucky boy to not get that penalty. Our three drivers here, though, nose to tail, hunting down Bonnival. Bonnival has very crucially broken that 1 second barrier, so Hockers will no longer have the slipstream. Having said that, though, Bonnival didn't quite get the best run out of the first corner. Hockers just has to keep his nose up as close to that Nissan as he can. He is back in the slipstream, very fortunately indeed, but Terminator and Speed Hunter are bearing down on him. Terminator within 0.2 now of a second is run on board. Is there a move on the inside? It's an absolute rocket ship compared to the Terminator, but he cannot go for the move. He's got to break early, but from Speed Hunter, Hocker slides through the apex. He goes wide. Terminator up into P3, where Speed Hunter is going to go around the outside. That would be very brave. He's trying his damnedest. Just not enough grip in the BMW there. And Quinny, having seen Terminator have to hold up Speed Hunter, Quinny has now got a chance and a move on Speed Hunter for P4. You see that all this battling is costing them dearly to the lead. Bonnival, having been in the slipstream to Hockers a moment ago, is now given away a second to this battling, quintet. I keep losing track of how many there are. I think I just want a moment just to catch my breath, but these guys are fighting all race long. Terminator finally finds himself in P2. Hocker's going very wide in P3. That'll definitely be a penalty. And there it is, a half-second penalty for Hockers to serve on this lap. That means he will definitely lose P4 to Speed Hunter, P5 to Quinny. And if Chris Boo keeps himself up with this pack, that may well be P6 as well. Hockers to lose 3 places in the space of 1 lap. You see him head through the bus stop again, not going for all the apex there on the inside curve. They could probably try just a little bit more. They want to cut some more time off their lap and keep that momentum through the bus stop. See an assortment of different lines there. Quinny opting to keep it nice and tight, the four-wheel drive helping him do that. Hockers now serves his penalty, losing 1, 2, 3 places there, but just about fends off Chris Boo, heading into the second to last corner. Chris Boo showing his nose, giving Hockers something to think about, but Hockers only has to think about keeping that car in the racing line. Speed Hunter ran a little wide on the exit of the second to last corner, but I think he's just about kept a wheel on the orange and red curb, so he will be fine. Well, that's just over halfway through the race now. We're starting lap 10 of 16. Bonnival fairly comfortably in the lead there from Terminator, 2 seconds away. Terminator leading this train. P2, P3 Speed Hunter, P4 Quinny, P5 Hockers, P6 Chris Boo, and Ryan is just about trying to find his way onto the back of that train as well. ART Lango down in P8, Lancaster in P9 following an unfortunate incident at the bus stop chicane, losing control of the Hyundai Genesis. Beard McBeard finds himself down in P10 on his own little island, 8 seconds to Lancaster, 10 seconds back to Matt in P11. We jump back on board there with Terminator. We'll see what he sees from his rear wing. He's got Speed Hunter within 7/10, so within the slipstream, but not quite enough to pose a threat as yet. I've just noticed as well, Ryan's badge, despite being caught in that midfield traffic, a 1:13.7, cracking lap from him, it must be said. So Terminator then leading around for lap 11 of 16. We've got Speed Hunters open up a gap of almost a whole second there to Gina Quinn. Let's see how he does heading out of turn 1. Doesn't need to run quite as wide, but he is pulling away from him crucially. Quinn in P4, Hockey's in P5 with Ryan's badge, right up his chuff. Ryan 6th, Lango in 7th. Chris Boo 7th, Lango in P8. Let's jump on board though with Ryan as we can see him trying to light the overtake on Hockers down the back straight. I can't even tell if he's slipstreaming or pushing. They are so close together there. Ryan's badge, had to move out of the way just a little bit just to spot his break in this turning point. Has a very good bus stop there, it must be said, nice and smooth, using all of the curb possible there on the inside and outside. Can he live move that on Hockers? They're very close, he almost spins Hockers out there, I think. Heading through the sweeping right-hander. Now he's going to try and get up that move to the inside. No, just throwing himself into his mirrors. Give Hockers something to think about. Try and force a mistake. Hockers does make the mistake eventually. A 1 second penalty for Hockers for track limits. because he cannot go around the outside though. Hoggers blocks off that line, so he needs to make use of the momentum around the outside. But Hoggers blocks that line once again. Goodness me, it really is hectic between these guys in the midfield. Ryan running very wide on the exit of that corner there. I'm not too sure if he's just picked up a penalty, but I think he will be okay. Yes, he's just about okay. Now he's making a move on the outside of Hoggers. We can see Hoggers there, the car just bumper to bumper there. He's now going to the inside and he pulls into the slipstream instead. Ryan Badgino takes P5 off of ART Hoggers. Next up the road there is Ginniquini. He's almost 2 seconds away, but he's got a lot of gaining to do if he wants to make up some more time. Bonnival still leading by 2.5 seconds. Speed Hunter though not pulling away from Terminator as quickly as he would like. He has made it past into P2, so he's down to P3, but if he could snag a second podium tonight, he will be a very happy unit indeed. Maybe not quite as happy as finding John Connor, but it'll have to do. He has to watch out though. He's got Ginniquini 3/4 of a second behind him in P4. Quinny with a fairly healthy gap there to Ryan Badgino, but I want to make sure he doesn't get involved in any unnecessary battling with Terminator and Speed Hunter. I want to make a place and then drive off into the quite beautiful sunset we seem to have here at Watkins Glen. Ryan Badgino in P5. He's got 2.5 seconds either side there. Hoggers down in P6. He's got Chris Boo bearing down on him in P7, but he won't be for long with a 2-second penalty. This will definitely let Lang go past him. Lancaster has a half-second penalty there, but that should still be enough to get him past the Mauritian, currently in P7. He's also got 12 seconds in hand to Beardy McBeard down in P10, and it's more or less the same back to Matt in P11 with a 1-second penalty. It's not been his race tonight. We've seen some fantastic driving out of Matt, especially in the ART Academy, our breakthrough driver program to get them into our team versus team events. This one hasn't quite gone his way. Again, though, Bonnival on lap 14-16, a fairly comfortable lead, 2 and a bit seconds up on Speed Hunter there. Speed Hunter still in P2, still not managed to get away from the Terminator. He really is trying to keep him honest there. Speed Hunter gets sideways, heading out of the first corner. That'll give a little bit more time to the Terminator, I hope. But Terminator without a good exit as well, he's not been able to gain on him as much as he would have liked. And in fact, it looks like the gains being made here by Ginniquini. He's still holding on to that half-second gap behind Terminator. Technically, he might well just have a very cheeky double slipstream there, heading onto the bus stop. But I think now he's going to have to try and see if there's a mistake that can be forced from one of the drivers up ahead. Ryan Badgino just behind there. He's got a half-second penalty, presumably for exceeding track limits. Should though not have to concern him with Lango behind. He's got 6 seconds in hand to the Brazilian. He though is going to concede a place to Lancaster there, owed to his penalty. Chris Boo with the penalty just behind there in P8. That allows Hoggers to move past him, demoting Chris down to P9. So penalties now starting to afflict these drivers, really going to cause them problems. They want to be making their way up the pack, but consistency issues are starting to settle in again. These guys now been racing for almost an hour, just with a slight pause in between. Maybe the fatigue is just getting to some of them now as we eke into the last 2 laps of tonight's proceedings. Bonnival with a 1.5 second penalty. Now that of course is going to be way more than 1.5 when you bear in mind the time it will take him to get back up to racing speed on that back straight. And I think we're going to stick with Bonnival just a little bit longer and see if he can make up some crucial tenths here and there before he serves his penalty, and more importantly just how much this will cost him. We can see there he's about 2.7 seconds away from Speed Hunter as he hits the penalty zone. As he serves his penalty, Speed Hunter is trying to catch up. We can see there, is he going to get him towards the corner? He's going to be brave around the outside. Just about going to get him. No, he's going to go off track. That's going to cost him some penalties, I believe. for track limits. Terminator and Gina Quinney are all right behind him as well. Speed Hunter gets a half-second penalty. That's the last thing he wants. And a bad exit as well with the dirty tyres. Terminator back up into P2. What's Gina Quinney going to say about this into turn 1? Is there a dive bomb? Is there a slipstream? Nothing doing yet. Speed Hunter still with dirty tyres. A bit of door banging there. Has he forced Speed Hunter off the track? And another penalty though. That may well have to be investigated. Let's have a look. The Speed Hunter heads back up the hill. He's not taken another penalty, so he was technically left enough racing room. But I'm not sure if I'd be too happy about that. It's going to be a very interesting discussion, that's for sure. In any case, Speed Hunter still keeps P3 ahead of Gina Quinney. In that case, all Quinney's got to do is just sit behind him and keep it clean, and he will be given P3 on the penalty line. What's worse though is Ryan's badge, starting to reel them in as well, and if Speed Hunter has too much of a slowdown, Ryan may just threaten him heading into the final 2 corners. Let's have a look with Speed Hunter. Quinney will just about go past him, I think. He's going to go around the outside, very bold move. He does make it stick. Not enough time for Ryan, his badge, though. Will ride on board though with Bonnie Val as he crosses the line by the skin of his teeth. A fantastic event from Terminator to keep in mind, but Bonnie Val will take the final race tonight. He takes the checker flag. Terminator in second. A fantastic race from Terminator. As I said, my driver of the day without a shadow of a doubt. Gina Quinney fights really hard to keep P3. Excellent advantage from him tonight. Speed Hunter in 4th. Ryan's Badgino 5th. Lankster with a terrible incident at the start, crawling his way back up to 6th. Lango in 7th. Hocker's in 8th and above on Lankster there. Chris Bood 3 into 9th. Beard McBeard will take the checker flag for P10. And last but by no means least will be this man here, Matt237. We'll run on board with him as he takes the checker flag, rounding out tonight's final race and rounding out all of tonight's proceedings. So there you have it, 3 out of 3 races tonight at Watkins Glen. Our second winner of 2 or 3 races here, Bonnie Val in the Nissan Silvia. And then again, my driver of the day with a 4th, a 3rd and a 2nd, I believe, in that order, if I'm not mistaken. ART Terminator. So with that, we'll wrap things up for tonight's proceedings at Watkins Glen. A quick kind of semi-admin announcement before we do close the stream. As some of you that do race with me, or I've mentioned on the stream previously, I do work in teaching, and we're expecting a strike next Wednesday. However, I'm due to be taking some children on a trip, on a go-karting trip in fact, which I'm very excited to do. If I'm still on that trip, if it does go ahead, there may not be a stream next week, in which case this will be the final broadcasted event for the TCR series. However, if this trip is not running, I will definitely be here to bring you the final race of the TCR2 series. So I do hope to be here. If I'm not, then I do apologise in advance. But regardless of that, I do hope you've had a fantastic evening with arguably the best race I've seen of TCR since it was inaugurated. Have a wonderful Wednesday evening. Again, hit the Discord link in the description below if you want to get involved, and we hope to see you guys very soon. I've been SuperSquid. You've been amazing. Have a fantastic evening.